Welcome back to USA News Street. If you're one of the millions of Americans waiting for your tax refund this year, you might be asking the same question a lot of people are asking right now. Where is my refund? Because across the United States, many taxpayers say their IRS refunds are taking longer than expected during this tax season. Normally, the Internal Revenue Service says most refunds are processed within about 21 days after a return is filed. But this year, some people are reporting delays that are stretching beyond that timeline. So what exactly is happening? First, it's important to understand that every year, the IRS processes an enormous number of tax returns. In fact, during a typical filing season, the agency handles well over 100 million tax returns from individuals across the country. That's a massive workload. And when even small issues happen, whether it's system verification checks, identity protection reviews, or processing backlogs, it can slow down how quickly refunds are issued. Some taxpayers who filed early expected their refund to arrive within a few weeks, but many are now checking their bank accounts and still waiting. Financial experts say there are several possible reasons this could happen. For example, if the IRS needs to verify certain information on a tax return, the system may temporarily hold the refund until that review process is completed. Another factor could be identity verification checks. The IRS has increased security measures over the past few years to protect taxpayers from fraud and identity theft. That means sometimes returns go through additional review steps before refunds are released. Now, for many Americans, this refund isn't just extra money. It's money they've been planning to use for bills, groceries, or savings. So naturally, when refunds are delayed, people start looking for answers. The good news is that in many cases, these delays are temporary and refunds are still being processed. But knowing why the delay happens can help taxpayers understand what's going on behind the scenes. In the next part of this video, we'll talk about the most common reasons refunds are delayed this year and what you can do if your refund still hasn't arrived. So stay with us. And if you want simple updates about U.S. financial news, taxes, and government programs, make sure you subscribe to USA News Street and turn on notifications so you don't miss our latest reports. Welcome back to USA News Street. In the previous part, we talked about why many Americans are still waiting for their tax refunds this year and how the refund process normally works. Now let's take a closer look at the most common reasons refunds get delayed during the tax season. According to updates connected to the Internal Revenue Service, several things can slow down the refund process even when a taxpayer files everything correctly. One of the biggest reasons is additional review by the IRS system. When a tax return is submitted, the system automatically checks the information for accuracy. If something doesn't match IRS records, even something small like income information, tax credits, or identity verification, the return may be flagged for a manual review. When that happens, the refund process can take longer than the usual timeline. Another common reason for delays is tax credit verification. Many Americans claim credits such as the Earned Income Tax Credit or the Child Tax Credit. These credits are extremely helpful for families, but the IRS has to carefully verify them before sending the refund. This extra verification step is designed to prevent fraud and protect taxpayer money, but it can also add extra processing time. A third reason some refunds are delayed is identity protection checks. Over the past few years, the IRS has increased security measures to stop identity theft and fraudulent tax filings. If the system detects something unusual, it may temporarily hold the refund while the taxpayer's identity is confirmed. In those cases, the IRS may contact the taxpayer or request additional verification before releasing the refund. Now, for many Americans, the waiting period can be frustrating, especially if they were counting on that refund for important expenses. But in most cases, the refund is still being processed, and the delay simply means the return is going through one of these additional checks. In the next part of this video, we'll explain how you can check the status of your refund and what steps you should take if your IRS refund still hasn't arrived. So stay with us as we break that down next. And if you want simple updates about taxes, financial news, and government programs in the United States, make sure to subscribe to USA News Street so you don't miss future updates. In the last part, we talked about the most common reasons tax refunds can be delayed this year, including identity checks, tax credit verification, and additional review by the system. Now, the next big question many Americans are asking is this: how can you actually check the status of your refund? According to the Internal Revenue Service, the fastest way to track your refund is through their official refund tracking system. This tool allows taxpayers to see whether their return has been received, approved, or if the refund has already been sent to their bank account. Typically, once the IRS approves a refund, the payment is issued shortly after that approval step. But if the system shows that your return is still being processed, it usually means the IRS is still reviewing the information. Another thing many taxpayers don't realize is that the day you filed your tax return can affect how quickly your refund arrives. People who filed early during the tax season often receive their refunds faster because the system isn't as busy yet. But as more and more tax returns arrive, processing times can sometimes slow down. That's why many financial experts recommend filing as early as possible if you want to receive your refund sooner. However, even if you filed early, there are still situations where the IRS might take extra time to process a return. For example, if the system needs to verify income records, match employer tax forms, or confirm certain credits, the return may stay in the processing stage longer than expected. And during the peak of tax season, millions of returns are being reviewed at the same time. That's a huge workload for any system. So if your refund hasn't arrived yet, it doesn't always mean there's a serious problem. In many cases, it simply means the return is still going through the normal verification process. In the next part of this video, we'll explain what you should do if your refund is taking longer than expected, and when it might actually be time to contact the IRS. So stay with us, and if you want clear updates about U.S. tax news, Social Security, and government benefits, make sure to subscribe to USA News Street so you never miss an important update. In the previous part, we talked about how you can check the status of your tax refund and why some returns may stay in the processing stage longer than expected. Now let's talk about something many taxpayers are wondering right now. When should you actually contact the IRS about your refund? According to guidance from the Internal Revenue Service, most refunds are still issued within about 3 weeks for taxpayers who filed electronically and chose direct deposit. But if your return has been processing for significantly longer than that, there are a few things you should check first before trying to contact the agency. First, make sure the information on your tax return was entered correctly. Even a small mistake, such as a misspelled name, incorrect Social Security number, or bank account error, can slow down the processing timeline. Second, check whether the IRS has requested additional verification. In some cases, the system may send a notice asking the taxpayer to confirm their identity or verify certain information on their return. If that happens, the refund will usually remain on hold until the verification process is completed. Another situation that can delay refunds is when income information from employers or financial institutions needs to be matched with the data submitted on the tax return. This verification step helps the IRS ensure that tax records are accurate and helps prevent fraudulent refunds from being issued. Now here's something important to remember. During peak tax season, millions of Americans file their returns within a short period of time. That creates a huge surge in processing demand for the IRS system. Because of that, small delays can happen even when everything on a return is correct. For many taxpayers, the best step is simply monitoring the refund status and waiting for the system to finish processing the return. In the final part of this video, we're going to talk about what experts say taxpayers should expect for the rest of this tax season and what future IRS updates could mean for refunds going forward. So stay with us for the final part of this update. And if you want more clear explanations about U.S. taxes, Social Security updates, and government benefits, make sure to subscribe to USA News Street so you don't miss future reports. Welcome back to USA News Street. As we reach the final part of this update, let's talk about what taxpayers across the United States should realistically expect for the rest of this tax season. Every year, the Internal Revenue Service processes an enormous number of tax returns. Millions of Americans file their taxes within just a few weeks, which creates one of the busiest periods for the IRS system. Because of that, occasional delays during peak filing season are not unusual. For most taxpayers who filed electronically and selected direct deposit, refunds are still expected to arrive within the typical processing window once the return is fully approved. However, if a return goes through additional verification, such as identity checks, tax credit validation, or income record matching, the processing time may be longer. Financial experts say the most important thing taxpayers can do during this time is remain patient and continue checking the refund status through official IRS tools. Trying to submit multiple returns or contacting the IRS too early can sometimes create more confusion in the system. Instead, taxpayers should monitor their refund status and wait for official updates if their return is still being processed. Another important reminder is to be cautious about scams during tax season. Unfortunately, criminals often try to take advantage of taxpayers who are waiting for refunds. Fake emails, phone calls, or text messages pretending to come from the IRS can sometimes appear during this time of year. The IRS typically does not contact taxpayers through unexpected text messages or social media, so experts recommend ignoring suspicious messages asking for personal or financial information. Looking ahead, the IRS continues working on improving its technology and processing systems to handle the growing number of returns each year. These upgrades are meant to make refund processing faster and more secure in the future. So while some taxpayers may experience temporary delays this season, most refunds are still expected to be processed as the tax season continues. If you found this update helpful, make sure to subscribe to USA News Street for more simple and clear explanations about U.S. tax updates, government benefits, and financial news. And don't forget to share this video with friends or family members who may also be waiting for their tax refund. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next update here on USA News Street.